Welcome to Weeknight Mysteries podcast. My name is Euros and I am here with Rain. How are you?
Hello, everyone. I'm Rain. As always, very good. How are you today?
I'm good. Today we want to talk about an update to a case that we had talked about in the past, the disappearance of David Schultz. David Schultz, the missing man from Iowa, a trucker, a 53-year-old trucker that disappeared last year in November after 5 months of being a missing person has been found last week. And we wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the case again, give a little bit of an update, and to kind of touch upon a few interesting points. Before we get going, I would like to quickly reintroduce some new listeners that are not aware of the details of David's disappearance. So everything happened started on the evening of November 20th in 2023, last year. David Schultz left his family home in Wall Lake, Iowa, a very small town, to go to work. He was working as a truck driver. He was scheduled to pick up a load of pigs in Eagle Grove, Iowa, and then deliver them to Sac City, Iowa. Unfortunately, David never made it to his destination site that night. The next morning, on November 21st, his wife, Sarah, was informed that David never made the scheduled delivery. It was later clarified that the pigs had been loaded from the original site in Eagle Grove. However, in the afternoon of November 21st, 2023, so the second day of his disappearance, David's semi-truck was located. The semi was found unlocked. It was parked in the middle of the road. The parking location kind of was fairly strange. And the trailer was loaded with pigs still. So it seemed like he did collect the pigs from Eagle Grove. However, he never delivered them to Sac City, where he was supposed to basically deliver them. It was identified that David's cell phone, his wallet, and his cash were in the truck. Strangely, his coat was located in a nearby ditch. And for the last 5 months, this is everything we had, essentially. However, Northwest Iowa trucker David Schultz's body was discovered Wednesday, so I think it was last Wednesday, after he went missing for more than 4 months. Preliminary autopsy results showed no signs of trauma or serious injury. The further autopsy test results are pending as we speak, as far as I understand, because minutes before we started recording this podcast episode, I tried to find some information about that autopsy, but I believe the autopsy that was conducted by law enforcement said that there were no signs of trauma and serious injury. Now, the family members, or specifically Sarah Schultz, had publicly announced that she would like to have a second autopsy performed on her deceased husband, because some things seem to not quite add up, and I believe the second autopsy, or let's put it this way, the motivation to conduct the second autopsy is to figure out whether or not there was any foul play involved in this case. Rain, what do you recall about David's disappearance? Do you remember some of the information, some of the details from the last time we talked about David's case? Was there anything suspicious that you can recall regarding this one?
If I remember correctly, he was supposed to drive south to get into his destination, but for some reason he took the northern lane.
Yeah, that is correct.
And then the truck was found in the middle of the road, everything intact except for his jacket and wallet, or
kind of
just
similar
jacket?
to that. So his jacket was actually outside of the truck, but it was very close. It was in a ditch that is adjacent to the road where his
Yeah.
car was parked. I believe his wallet was still in the
In the truck.
truck.
So
yeah.
just the only thing missing was the jacket.
Yeah, as far as I could tell, the only thing that was missing was his jacket.
Yeah.
That day, that time when it was found. I can quickly walk you through the timeline because there were some strange timeline details here, and I believe his wife Sarah actually thinks that, or at least I don't know what she actually thinks. Obviously, they have a lot on their mind, obviously, but I think she made a comment. I believe it was on Facebook, or did I read it on a news article? I can't recall. But she thinks that maybe something suspicious may have happened as sometime after he left Eagle Grove, where he picked up the pigs. I can quickly tell you the timeline. It's not a lot of information here, but maybe it's worth kind of discussing it again. So, as I've said, I think David was scheduled. It's hard to understand this first timeline point, but I believe this is my understanding that he was scheduled to pick up the shipment of pigs at 7 p.m. on November 20th from Eagle Grove. So now he makes the drive from Wall Lake to Eagle Grove, which is, I think, close to maybe 2 hours of driving, an hour and a half of driving. And we have information that David Schultz was late for some reason to arrive to the, location where the pigs were held in Eagle Grove. We don't know exactly why he was late there to make that pickup. I think it was mentioned somewhere, and I believe it was mentioned maybe by Sarah Schultz, if my memory is not failing me, that David that day was rushing. He was really trying to get out of the house as soon as possible. He didn't have much time, so I think, as far as I understand, he has been working all day long. So at 11:15 p.m., close to midnight now on the 20th of November, investigators had obtained a video from that time where David Schultz was captured on camera at a marker 126 truck stop east of Fort Dodge on Highway 20. Now, David is there for 16 minutes before he leaves the truck stop. He is then seen on a dot camera on Highway 20 heading west from the truck stop. So I believe this has never been kind of clarified as far as I understand, but I do believe that this is my opinion, that police had seen footage of him actually inside of that truck stop, because it would be a different there could be a different scenario if they just saw the truck but never saw David. Then you could kind of almost imply that maybe David wasn't the one driving the truck anymore. We don't really know if David was alone or not. I guess these details are these details are not publicly released. Regardless, at 18 minutes past midnight, his cell phone data showed that he arrived at the Highway 20 and Highway 71, I think, intersection. This is where he is supposed to drive south, as he mentioned. So he would head towards Sac City. However, for some reason, he starts traveling north to where the truck was found. He just started driving north for around 4 miles, then seemingly stopped the truck in the middle of the road. I've even heard a report that the truck was stopped in the opposite side of the road. And then, from all accounts, we don't know what happened. We just know that his personal items, I think the majority of his personal items have been left in the truck while he seemingly got out of the truck and for some reason removed his jacket. And we now know that his body has been located 1.5 miles south from the truck. So it almost, to me, indicated that maybe he was walking back towards that highway where he made the wrong turn, Highway 20. But he was
Question.
walking not through like the road, he was walking through like
One question.
agricultural fields. Yep, of course.
He was walking. You mentioned he seemed like he was walking. I couldn't remember much of the details regarding the truck, but could you kindly remind me if there's like anything wrong with it? If the police found like some mechanical problems with the truck?
So I don't think that has ever been reported. However, to this point, this is something I found on an article, and this is recent information. His wife, Sarah, said that she is convinced that something must have happened at the truck stop because when the truck was found, it was facing the wrong direction and the headlights and flashers were off. David wouldn't have done that, she said, because a vehicle traveling on that part of the highway could have struck the back of the rig in the dark. So we don't really know if anything was wrong with the truck, per se. That information was never released, or at least it would be very hard to find online because I never ran into that information. But Sarah did seem that say that the headlights were and flashers were off for some reason. So I don't know what to make of that. What do you think?
Interesting. Because I always thought, like, honestly, it's either he was feeling unwell during that time or there was something wrong with his truck. But then again, he had a phone. If there was something wrong with the truck, he could have easily called someone. No?
I believe so. I believe he definitely, I think, had the phone. The only question is whether or not the phone had any
Signal.
signal or was fully charged, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. That could be a possible scenario.
But this was never like disclosed. So once again, we can only speculate. So his body was found on April 24th of this year, shortly before 2 p.m. The Sac County Sheriff's Office received a call from an individual who reported the discovery of the body in his own field. So I believe it was a farmer who was working his own field. And investigators do not suspect foul play, the release said, but additional tests are still pending. Police found David's wallet and phone inside his truck and his jacket on the side of the road. His wife Sarah said that she is glad that she knows where he is now. There are still a lot of questions, though. According to Sarah, things don't make sense. But at least they have him now. Nothing makes sense as to why he would be in a field. His coat was found on the side and he was found on the opposite side. Doesn't make sense. Jay Crowley, the man who was heavily involved in searching for David Schultz, he is one of the leading people for the United Cajun Navy in that part of America. He told the media that David's body was found in the vicinity of the intersection of Union Avenue and 190th Street in rural Sac County. Now, this place where David's body was discovered was not within the vast area searched by the United Cajun Navy, the search and rescue organization. This is because he said it fell within an area that authorities said that at that time they had already searched it. The fire department, police department, and the sheriff's department from that area told us that they had a 2-mile radius around where the truck was found. So Jay Crowley said that we had figured that the police department or the fire department or whoever, the original search party for the first few days, had searched that area, so we did not search that area. So did this make any sense? So Jay Crowley also asserted that David's body was in a state of decomposition inconsistent with having been out in the elements for more than 5 months. The body, he said, was not as decomposed as it should have been under the circumstances. He was implying that it got dumped there later. He said that the decomposition does not line up with 186 days from what I understand. Jay Crowley said there is a very good chance that the body wasn't there even when they searched. And he speculated that the body was placed there after. So it's a strange comment,
Pretty strange, actually.
implying foul play, of course. Implying that David's body was not there initially, and then later on, it was placed by someone, some culprit or culprits for some reason.
I don't know. When you first mentioned that his body was found, pretty close, like 1.5, right? 1.5 kilometers away from the truck. I always assumed that it could be something health related. Like he wasn't feeling that well as he was driving to the destination, and as he was approaching, maybe he got disoriented or something. He got confused, took the wrong turn, and by the middle of it, I don't know, I kind of sensed like, or at least I thought, that he wasn't feeling the best. So he had to walk, take a breather, and then that's it. Something of a heart attack or something.
Right. So let me bring some more information here.
Oh, okay.
So his wife, Sarah, commented that, well, this is her quote. I can't think of any reason why he would have gone a mile and a half into a field and lay down and taken his coat off and shut his truck off. Truckers don't shut their trucks off. They don't shut them off until they're done for the day. He would have never shut the truck off. Things don't add up, she said. I have some more information here. I'm reading from an article right now. A spokesman for David Schultz family, I believe this is Jay Crowley, told the journal, the Sac City Journal, on Friday that they plan to have a private forensic pathology firm conduct a second autopsy on the Wall Lake, Iowa trucker's body. Jay Crowley of the United Cajun Navy said that David's wife, Sarah, gave him permission to set up a GoFundMe online fundraiser. He said they hope to raise at least $10,000 to cover the cost of a second autopsy, as well as David's funeral expenses. I was not able to find this GoFundMe. There is the original GoFundMe for David's family, but this second GoFundMe specifically dedicated for an autopsy, I couldn't find this. And he also commented that I don't feel comfortable with the results of the initial autopsy, Jay Crowley said by phone. I think definitely in my opinion and in Sarah's opinion, both, and our conversations together, foul play was involved. So Jay Crowley and Sarah Schultz had made that statement that they believed that maybe foul play could be involved in David's death. He also said that I do not trust the officials and what they do. I definitely do, he said, who noted some in test results such as toxology have not come back. So yeah, toxology report, from what I understand, has not came back yet, to kind of establish whether or not he was under the influence or had any sort of kind of
Health issues?
I think toxology report, from what I understand, is to just see if he had some what kind of substances he had in the body, in his blood.
Drugs and alcohol.
Exactly. There's other parts of this that haven't been completely returned yet. There may be something in that, that hasn't been brought to our attention yet. This is his comments. During a news conference Thursday morning, Sarah Schultz, who hadn't yet viewed the body, had a hard time grasping how it wasn't just bones. From what she understands, her husband's body was found on his back, clad in a t-shirt which was pulled up. She said he had underwear on, and I think his jeans were down. His cowboy boots were on. I think she said of the brown Wrangler boots with the blue on the soles. I know they identified him by the boots because the last time he went and bought boots, he bought two pair of the exact same ones. I gave the sheriff one of the newer boots to have for comparison. So that's what we have essentially. So really quickly, the information that also came out that I think I kind of didn't tell you yet about was that for some reason his shirt, so he was found laying on his back, his shirt was lifted, like I believe his torso was exposed, his shirt was lifted, and his jeans were also pulled down. He only had underwear on. And he was laying on his back like that. So his shirt was lifted, jeans pulled down, his jacket was left way, way close to the truck. So it would have to be something where if it wasn't foul play, then for some unexplained reason, David makes a wrong turn on Highway 20, heads north for about 4 miles, stops in a bad way to stop, from what I understand, in an unsafe way to stop, leaving the truck without the headlights on or something of that nature, where the truck could be a potential danger to other ongoing traffic. And then on top of that, then he would walk out of the truck. He would leave all of his personal belongings behind. However, he had his jacket on. I don't know if he would be wearing his jacket inside of the truck at that point. One way or another, he removes the jacket, dumps it in the ditch, and then proceeds walking 1.5 miles through the fields, sort of heading south, sort of heading back towards that Highway 20 where he makes the wrong turn. Just, let's say, hours earlier, for some reason, he lays on the field, he pulls down his jeans, and he lifts his shirt up. And that's how he just lays down there and seemingly dies. This is the scenario that we would have. The strange things about this case is that his body was located in an area that was searched in the past. So it's either that the body was actually missed, because it's hard to search those fields. It was, I think, agricultural fields. So it could be difficult to search that type of a terrain. On top of that, if he wasn't there, then that would mean that someone returned his remains in that area, which if someone committed foul play, I just don't see the logic behind doing that unless there's something happening in the background where maybe like some people would already know or would already think that law enforcement is on their tail, and maybe if we return the body there, we kind of try to stage it as an accident, and then maybe we get off the hook. I don't know. That type of a scenario just seems quite unlikely to me, because if that's the case, you're probably being monitored by law enforcement regardless. So kind of returning the body to the location where it would make sense for David to be found is also strange. So maybe I don't know about that one. I don't know if his body was actually moved there after the fact. I mean, I don't know, honestly. And there's this whole ordeal with the second autopsy that may or may not happen. As far as I'm aware, it's really hard to find any information about the second autopsy right now. I think the family is dealing with mourning the loss of David, who was a very important person to his family. He was like very important in the family, you know.
The breadwinner?
Yeah, basically, as far as I understand. So it's hard. It's just hard to say what actually happened. What are your thoughts about this? Do you think there's a foul play potentially involved here, or do you think this could have been something that happened, like a medical, as you said, medical emergency, or do you think there's a chance for foul play here?
I don't know, actually, because I was initially convinced that it could have been something health related, like the disorientation, and I initially thought that he just wanted to take a breather, went out for a walk, and just died there. Died there. I thought it would be a heart attack, actually, most likely. But with the circumstances and the decomposition, I don't know. Maybe does it snow in Iowa? I mean, it snows slightly there, right? I
It
believe so.
I would believe that it definitely snows there. I would also say that it was, since it was late November in Iowa, it was cold.
Yeah.
It was. I would say it's seems to me it's too cold to not have a jacket on.
Exactly. So I was thinking, what if it's a medical condition and he felt like it was too hot? Went out for a walk, maybe had a heart attack or something, died in there, and the rate of decomposition maybe was too cold. Could it? Is there a possibility that um, extreme temperatures could slow down the decomposition by a mile? I know
Yeah,
if there's like
I think
negative
so.
30, yeah, but what if it's not like negative 30 or
I think
something?
so. I think potentially.
So
I mean, we're
yeah.
not experts, so
Oh, definitely
but
not.
just like speculating, I think you have a good point.
So yeah, that's my whole like idea and opinion regarding that one. Although foul play may have been involved, but like, is there a reason to? Like, what's the motivation behind it?
So there is no known, or at least publicly released, people who would be
Bandits? Then?
adversaries of David, let's put it that way, that would want to cause him harm. In his wallet, he did have $2,000 cash. That's quite a bit of sum of cash. And I think it's a normal thing for some truckers to have that amount of cash because they pay for the tolls, road tolls. That's what I always understood. So he had some cash on him and he was delivering seemingly a regular shipment that he made in the past. So I don't know what would be the motivation. You have a very good point. And when? I mean, if there was foul play involved, in my eyes, there would be only two scenarios that would kind of make sense at this point, or at least would be just the only possible scenarios, actually. So the first one would be that maybe sometime after he got to Eagle Grove, I don't know, it was said that he was late to go to Eagle Grove. So maybe he potentially got someone with him in the truck at that point, or maybe someone got into the truck maybe sometime after he left the the truck stop, or maybe it was before he got to the truck stop, somewhere along the line that he picked someone up for some reason. But I don't know, that just seems unlikely personally, but maybe that could be an option. And another idea would be that maybe he was meeting someone in that location. And maybe, yeah, because I
He
just
was
don't.
met with foul play over there.
Yeah, because I just don't know. I just don't know why he would make the wrong turn. To me, as I'm trying to think about this case, for me, the biggest kind of weird thing about it is him making the wrong turn, driving north. That's my biggest misery. Because even if you're having a medical emergency, I mean, would you make that wrong turn? No, maybe something was already happening on the Highway 20 for him to make that wrong turn to begin with. What do you think of that?
Or perhaps he was too disoriented and it clouded his personal decisions.
Yeah,
Judgment.
maybe he was already for some reason disoriented on the Highway 20, and that's why he turned in the wrong direction.
Because it could also be the case if there was alcohol involved.
Yeah, potentially, right? But this is not, publicly available, so we can't really assume that.
Yeah,
But it is, I guess, an option. Everything's an option at this point. We
definitely.
don't have the information.
Yeah, and in terms of foul play, I'm just genuinely confused and about the fact that if it was a foul play, then why leave everything behind? It's either someone with intense anger or what? If it's a bandit, then why leave the wallet behind and the cargo? There was a lot of valuable items there, like including the cargo. I meant $2,000.
Yeah.
If it was a random target, why leave everything that you could actually get?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Um, at this point, I would say I don't have much more to add, unless you would like to kind of discuss some other details. Like, does anything else jump out to you still?
Yes. Remember, you mentioned something that there's a possibility that he might have been meeting someone.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility.
Why park on the other side of the road then? On the wrong side of the road. If he's actually gonna meet someone and he parked there, like on his own, intentionally parked there, why park on the other side, on the wrong side?
Yeah, and then obviously the sequence of events later on also don't make sense. Him taking off his jacket and starting to just walk for a mile and a half into a field.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't add up. I mean, all I could think of is that the reason why he was parked on the wrong side of the road, it's either he's too disoriented, maybe alcohol was involved, or he was held like a gunpoint or panic was ensuing, happening. I don't know, what do you think?
So it's hard to think for me, actually. I mean, I guess I didn't yet put too much thought into all of the possible scenarios here because the case is, still very fresh and we should get some more information really soon. Hopefully, I hope that, this case is just not going to die down. If there is a chance of foul play, I hope people will start investigating it.
Yeah.
The way law enforcement kind of announced, or at least the way it was described on the news articles, it seemingly portrayed that law enforcement thinks that there is no foul play involved. So I'm not sure if they're gonna keep on investigating, because family members said that they think there might be some foul play involved. I don't know if this second autopsy is gonna actually happen, so we have to wait and see. But this is a very strange case. And I think it could be a situation where this happens more often than we think, potentially. It's just that we don't have a big media coverage of the event, of the case. And maybe this happens sometimes. But, I've never heard personally a case of a trucker who just makes a wrong turn and gets out of the car and just walks into a field and just dies there. I can't really even think about any reason why that would happen, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to say. I would like to say that I'm not going to speculate what happened here because it's just really hard to say. I just have no idea what happened.
I guess we'll have to wait for more updates.
Yeah, I think so. That was my idea, to just kind of just give this quick update here for the audience members of the podcast, and then let's try to see what happens next.
Of course.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we will join you on the next episode. Thank you very much for sticking with us, and to all the new subscribers, we love you guys. Thank you so much.
Just with just the new subscribers?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. We love all of you guys. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast.
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.